Hello students, in today's video we will be discussing the another two processes which were defined by Einstein. If you remember in the earlier video we had discussed about induced absorption, that is a process which starts from a lower energy level and it ends at a higher energy level. In today's video, we will be discussing spontaneous and stimulated emission. Now, whenever I use the word emission, it means that my process will start at a higher energy level and it will come to a lower energy level. So let us first discuss what is spontaneous emission. Spontaneous emission, what do you mean by the word spontaneous? The meaning of the word spontaneous means sudden, or you can say on its own without anyone's help. So if we discuss the word spontaneous emission, we say that something which happens on its own. So it is basically a process from a higher energy level to a lower energy level. You know that this is the process which is actually responsible for the light around us. Light is actually electromagnetic radiation. It is a form of energy only. Now, when can an atom emit energy? When it already has energy. So when an atom is in a higher energy level and if it comes back to a lower energy level, the difference of energy will be released. And this is how we get the basic light around us. So we can say that spontaneous emission is actually the decay of excited states of atoms. Why do these excited states decay? Whenever atoms are in higher energy or excited states, they are highly unstable. They have energy, they are unstable. And due to this instability, what actually happens? These atoms, they collide with each other. And these collisions will release energy. So this is what is spontaneous emission in brief. Now let us move on to the definition of a spontaneous emission. So the spontaneous emission is the process in which there is an emission of a photon whenever an atom transits from a higher energy state to a lower energy state without the help of any external energy, without the help or aid of any external energy. The atom is already excited, it is definitely going to come back. Without anyone's help, if it comes to the lower energy state, we say that the atom has spontaneously emitted energy. Let us just discuss the diagram given below. So I've categorized this into three different steps: before the process, during the process, and after the process. Now, as I told in my earlier video, we are assuming, Einstein assumed two energy levels, that is E1 as the lower energy level, E2 as the higher energy level, and he assumed only one atom to explain the three processes. Also, the difference between these two energy levels is considered as h nu. So we have E2 minus E1 is equals to h nu, that is a photon. So this was the assumption. We will follow this assumption in the remaining two definitions also. So we consider here as E1 the lower energy level, E2 the higher energy level. Because it is an emission process, before the process starts, we have atom in the excited state. During the process, what happens? This atom is coming down. Can you see in this diagram, no energy is required, no external, no one is pushing this atom. It has come to the lower energy level on its own. That is the reason we use the word spontaneous. And what happens after the process? The atom has now come back to the lower energy state or the ground state. So atom is in the ground state and the result is that a photon is emitted. So before the emission, atom is in excited state, and after the emission, your atom is in the ground state. According to the above diagram, we can say that atom star. What do you mean by atom star? Atom in excited state will give you atom plus h nu, that is photon, because there was a transition from this level to this level. So whatever difference of energy between these two levels will be the energy of photon. Now, the rate of a spontaneous emission. we denote the rate of spontaneous emission as R21 spontaneous. We are using the suffix spontaneous because we have another type of emission process also. And 2-1 means the process has started from 2 and it has come to level 1. So R21 spontaneous is proportional to N2. The rate of spontaneous emission is directly proportional to the population of higher energy level E2. That is, number of atoms of higher energy level E2. Population means number of atoms in the higher energy level. If you say there is only one atom is going to come down, one photon will be released. If there are 100 atoms, 100 atoms will come down and 100 photons will be released. So you see, if there are more number of atoms in higher energy level, the amount of energy released will also increase. Removing this proportionality sign, we get a proportionality constant which we call as A21. So R21 spontaneous means the rate of spontaneous emission, N2 is the number of atoms in higher energy level, and A21 is the proportionality constant for radiation. We define this proportionality constant as probability per unit time that atoms will spontaneously fall to ground state. That is what is known as the Einstein's second coefficient. Let us move on to the third process and the second type of emission in our syllabus, that is stimulated emission. What do you mean by the word stimulated? Something which is initiated, which does not happen on its own, or before it happens, we push the process, right? So it is the process in which an incoming photon of a specific frequency can interact with an excited atom, causing it to drop to a lower energy level. What does this statement mean? Before the atom itself comes to the lower energy state, there is another photon which we incident on the atom. Why do we incident that photon? Because the atom is already having energy. We incident this second photon so as to give our atom or so as to give our photon a direction. And what will be the result of this process? The earlier process, you can say one atom will give one photon, but this will actually give you more number of photons. We'll see later in the process. The second photon released by this process will have the same frequency, same phase, same direction and same polarization as was the incoming or the inducing photon had. So basically you are stimulating this process, you are guiding the photon in a particular phase, particular direction, particular polarization. Now this is the type of emission which is the base of amplification of laser. Laser is known as a highly intense light. So this amplification, how can you intensify something? How can you increase the intensity of something? By increasing its amplitude. And by increasing the intensity, you can achieve a very strong beam of laser. For that, you need to have all the photons in one direction only. You all know, while discussing the characteristics of laser, we discussed that laser is highly coherent, all photons are in same direction. So that is achieved with the help of stimulated emission only. Let us see what stimulated emission exactly means. It is the process in which there is an emission of photon whenever an atom transits from a higher energy state to a lower energy state under the influence of external energy. So when external energy is incident to a photon in excited state, only in that particular condition we can say that stimulated emission has occurred. Now both the inducing photon and the emitted photon have same momentum, same direction and same phase. Let us just see what actually the definition means. The definition says that, as I said earlier, E2 the higher energy level, E1 is the lower energy level. So this is the process which is happening before the stimulated emission. This is the condition. The atom is in the excited state. Now while this atom is coming down, we incident another photon. So this is the incident photon during the movement of atom from E2 to E1. What happens after the process? The atom has reached the ground state, but what is the result? Instead of one, we are getting two photons. One is the photon that was induced, and the other is the photon which has copied, which has followed the direction, the phase, the momentum, and the polarization of the incident photon. Similarly, if you have, instead of one atom, if you have 10 atoms, 10 of them will move in the same direction because the inducing photon has given the output photons a direction. So basically, stimulation is done to guide the released photons. Why do we need that all the output photons should be in same direction? Because we want coherent light. Because if the photons are not coherent, we will not be able to amplify them. If they are all scattered in different directions, you cannot amplify laser and you cannot get a high intensity beam. So if I explain this diagram in the form of an equation, I can write atom star means excited atom plus a photon will give me atom plus photon plus photon. One is the incident inducing photon and one is the emitted photon. That is the difference between E2 and E1. Now the rate of this stimulated emission is proportional to the population of higher energy level E2 and the density of radiation of inducing photon. How dense the incident radiation is, output depends on that factor also. So we will write the rate of stimulated emission as R21 stimulated. ST stands for the suffix, is the suffix for stimulated. 2 to 1 because the process is from 2 to 1. So R21 stimulated is proportional to N2 into rho, where R21 is the rate of stimulated emission, rho is the density of radiation, N2 is the number of atoms in higher energy level. And if you remove the proportionality sign, we define another proportionality constant as B to 1. To 1 because from 2 the atom has reached level 1. So R21 stimulated is equals to B21 N2 rho. And we define this proportionality constant as probability of stimulated emission per unit time. So here I end up the topic of the three processes given by Einstein. Just a brief of the three coefficients which Einstein had defined. So they are B12, which is known as the probability of induced absorption per unit time. This is the topic which I discussed in my previous video. B21, which we've discussed just now, the probability of stimulated emission per unit time. See, the easiest way to remember is B is the prefix used whenever we have some input energy utilization. Induced absorption also you require energy and stimulated emission also you require energy. So the prefix used is B, which is not happening on its own. But the suffix A21, that is probability of spontaneous emission, the prefix A is used when the process happens on its own. Second and third are from 2 to 1, so they have been labeled as 2, 1, 2, 1. So these are the three coefficients which are known as Einstein's coefficient. In my next video, when I discuss Einstein's theory, we will be utilizing these three coefficients. So I have just briefed so that you remember. Now, next is a very important difference related to your syllabus. A commonly asked question, difference between spontaneous and stimulated emission, can be a question of 3 to 4 marks. I have written down 5 to 6 points. Suppose the question is asked for 4 marks, you can list out 4 points in each. So I'll be reading and explaining simultaneously. So spontaneous emission and stimulated emission. 1 point of spontaneous and 1 point of stimulated. This is how I'll be explaining. So spontaneous emission, the atom in excited state returns to ground state, thereby emitting a photon without any external inducement. Like we've seen in the definition, without any external energy, the atom comes on its own. That is what is spontaneous emission. But the atom in excited state returns to ground state, thereby resulting in two photons of same frequency and phase with the help of external inducement. So stimulated emission is a process in which external energy is required. If you see spontaneous emission, it is an uncontrolled process. Spontaneous emission is a process which you cannot control. Why you cannot control? Because the process will happen on its own. The moment there are huge number of atoms in higher energy level, and you are not giving any energy. Because they have energy, because they are unstable, they are going to come down on their own. So before any inducement is done, they will come down. That is why it is known as an uncontrolled process. You can also say that the output is not in our hands. All the photons will be scattered in random directions, so we cannot control it. But on the other hand, if we see stimulated emission, it is a controllable process. Why it is a controllable process? Because the induced photon will give direction to the emitted photon. Whatever is the frequency, whatever is the phase, whatever is the direction of the incident photon, the same will be the direction of the emitted photon. Third point, in case of spontaneous emission, the radiation is less intense. Yes, obviously it will be less intense. Why? Because all the photons are scattered. They are not in the same direction. They are not in the same phase. They are random. That is the reason the radiation is intense. And if you see, because they are scattered, the radiation will be incoherent. Incoherent means phase, direction, momentum, polarization will not be same. Whereas if we discuss stimulated emission, the radiation is highly intense and coherent. Highly intense because all the photons which are emitted will have the same phase and direction as the incident photon. And because all of them are having same phase and same direction, we say they are coherent. Next, the photons are not in phase. There is no phase relation between them. They are in random phase. But in case of stimulated emission, the photons are in phase. That is, there is a constant phase difference. All of them follow a same phase, so the phase difference remains constant. This point is actually because they are coherent. Next, the radiation here in spontaneous is polychromatic. What do you mean by polychromatic? Poly means many. Many colors together is known as polychromatic. The example of a polychromatic radiation is white light. White light, is when all colors are reflected. Mixture or combination of all colors means polychromatic. Because the photons in spontaneous are scattered, the output will always be polychromatic. On the other hand, if we say stimulated emission, the radiation will be highly monochromatic. This is, the fourth characteristic of laser which we had earlier discussed. The last point, the rate of transition in case of spontaneous is given by A21 into N2. No radiation term here. But on the other hand, if you see stimulated emission, the rate is given as B21 N2 rho. In both the cases, it depends on population of higher energy state. But here we have a factor rho also. And because it is with the help of external energy, we get a coherent output. So hope the difference points are clear. Out of 6, you can write any 4 points if the question is of 4 marks. Hope the topic is clear. We'll be discussing Einstein's theory in the next lecture, in the next video. Thank you.